Hi, everybody. This is Linda. Thank you for joining us today on our Houseplants show. Um, I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. And speaking of houseplants, let's talk houseplants. Today we're going to be talking about the prayer plants. The prayer plants have a lot of different varieties. I've got 4 varieties up here to show you, and they are a marvelous, entertaining plant. It shows you how awesome God is. I don't care what man says, these plants show there is a God, okay? Well, we'll get to that part of it in a second, but I wanted to tell you that when I first started with these plants, I heard all these stories about how hard they are to raise, and I had already bought mine, so I was like, oh no, what did I do? So I started researching, and this video would say they're hard to raise, another video would say they're easy to raise, another video would say... I said, well, wait a minute now, y'all can't make up your mind. How am I supposed to know how to raise these things? So I went to the horticultural sites. They did the same thing. Couldn't make up their mind. So I had this bright idea. And I'm going to share that wisdom with you because I think it'll help you, especially if you're a beginner. And these plants for me are the first time I've had most of these plants. I've had one of them on this table before, but most of these plants I have not had before because back in my day, 1970, we didn't have that many exotic plants. You know, we just had the old staples. So I'm learning right along with y'all. I spend most of my day researching my plants so I can be a good mama. That's what I'm going to be. Well, anyway, I'm going to share my wisdom with you. After searching the internet for how to take care of these plants, my problem was what light to give it, because I'm in one room in my bedroom, and it has that very bright light window. The sun is scorching in that window, and so as I've said before, I have a sheer curtain. In the mornings when the sun's not coming through that window, I pull back the curtain. And then in the afternoon when the sun comes through that window, I close the curtain. So, and the sun comes through it, but it cuts off the harsh rays. Now, I have moved these plants around in my bedroom for 2 weeks, maybe every day, maybe every other day, trying to figure out where in the world are you going to be happy. Well, what I found out is by my own deduction. I found out how to take care of these plants, not just the prayer plants, but any tropical plant, is to go online and find out where your plant was located in the rainforest when it was in the wild. That species was in the wild. Take, for instance, this one. This is the plant that I got for my birthday from my friend. This is a Calathea Sabrina prayer plant or peacock plant. And this one is the same. Now, when I was researching these, I found out that these are on I'm going to call it the first floor, mezzanine section, the first floor of the rainforest. They have all these other plants that are much bigger leaves hanging up over top of them, and they don't really get a lot of bright light. Sometimes when the wind blows those great big leaves on the other plants, they'll get a peak of bright light, but most of the time they're in a pretty low light situation. And I said to myself, now if that's where they're used to living, then I don't have to worry about how close to get them to that window. They don't need that bright light from that window. So I moved them about 10 foot from the window. and they have been very happy. All of these here are anywhere, this one's about 8 foot from the window, and these are about 10 foot from the window. And they're very happy. They get a lot of light, but it's not sun and it's not overly bright. I would call it medium low. So do that when you get a house plant. Find out on what level of the floor did they thrive in. Was it down in the basement, the first floor, underneath all those great big leaves? Or were they up climbing the tree like this one over here does? Or were they up in the branches like orchids and bromeliads and Christmas cactus and Thanksgiving cactus? When you find that out, you'll know what kind of light to give it. Now, these plants are also called dancing plants. And I'm going to show you a video clip of why they call it dancing plants. Wasn't that cool? God is awesome, isn't he? Well, they're called prayer plants too because they bring their leaves up in almost like a praying position, and then they come back down. However, my plant right here, this is Sabrina. I call her Sabrina because that's her name. But so I don't mix her up with this one, I call her Zebby. Well, Sabrina here, she's a rebel. She doesn't obey the rules. Now, if you notice her right now, her leaves are sticking out, right? During the daytime, her leaves droop real far to where it looks like it's dying. First time I noticed it, I thought, oh my goodness, what did I do? And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. Why are her leaves drooping so bad? She doesn't need water. Because that's usually the first sign of needing water or getting overwatered is when their leaves droop real bad. Let me show you a picture of her when her leaves are drooping, and then I'll show you the picture of her. She's just coming out of her droop stage, so I'll show you a picture of her not drooping. So you can see my little Sabrina, she is a rebel. So she's going to do what she wants to do. Now, the reason I bring that up is when you go researching your plant, and you might read the tag that's in the plant. I can't find one here. you might read the tag that's in the plant, and it says this much sun and this much water and such. That's all right.
Yeah, none of them have a tag.
Okay. That's, you can start there, but if you go by what I told you about just giving them the kind of light that they're used to in the wild, you don't have to worry, okay, I'm going to set it over here because it says it likes bright light. But really, it may not like bright light at all. Or it might. So you have to start out by being safe than sorry, because it only takes one day to ruin a plant on too much light. So start out with where it is originally from. Is it high up or is it low down? Now, this plant is an authentic prayer plant. This is a Maranta. And if you notice this long piece here, this is where it starts to branch out in the wild. It's underneath all of those other big leafed plants. And these long ones, they get longer and longer and longer, and the roots come out and root into the ground, and it becomes something like a ground cover. So this plant, the way it's shaped with the long sides on it, makes a gorgeous mantelpiece plant, especially during Christmas, because as you notice, it has Christmas colors, red and green. And the back of the leaf is quite beautiful as well. And now, look, let's see, Sabrina, she has these wine-colored stripes underneath. I'm going to tell you why we've got all these different colors under our plants. I can't see what the hoot. See that dark wine color there? When these plants are in the wild with all those great big leaves over them, they have to do what they can to gather light so it can photosynthesize. So what they do is this darkness underneath keeps the light from piercing through the leaf, and then they lose a lot of the resources in order to be fed. So these plants with the color underneath help stop the light from going straight through. Now this one is the authentic prayer plant. These are called prayer plants because they dance or they pray just like this one does. And they like the same kind of care that this one does, but they're cousins to this one. Now this one is a rose, Calathea Rose picta, I think is Rosa picta. Now, whenever you have a Calathea with the pink in the leaf like this, a lot of times they will get crunchy leaves, and you'll see crunchy leaves on here somewhere.
Right here.
This is getting 2 new leaves, but there's crunch already started. But a lot of this crunch was on the plant when we bought it. But it's a normal occurrence for this type of plant. Any of these pink Calatheas tend to do that for some reason. We don't really know. The Trial Star, it dances too, as you noticed in the video. And it has the colors underneath to protect them from the light going all the way through the leaf. And I tell you, as many horror stories as I saw on YouTube about this plant being so hard to take care of, that has been a blessing. It has not been hard. It's minded its own business. It's been a good little girl. this pot is what's the term I'm looking for?
Clay?
Clay pot, yeah. The problem with this clay pot is I have to water this sucker about every 2 days because the clay pot pulls the water out of the root ball and then it evaporates. But it's good because it keeps you from overwatering the plant. And it likes to have air circulation in its root ball. But you got to make sure you stay on top of it and get the water when it needs it. Just stick your finger, like I've been saying, stick your finger down into the joint. And if it's the least bit damp, don't water it. Also, let's see, humidity. These prayer plants are high humidity plants. They like 60% humidity. And like I've told y'all before, if you get a bunch of these plants, put them together on a table or on the floor in a corner somewhere, and they got all the light they need, etc., they will humidify each other. You won't have to worry about getting a humidifier. Before I got my humidifier, I had a pebble tray under this. And then I set around some bowls full of water around the periphery of the plant. And it was happy. But I don't like doing that because I forget. I forget to check the water in the pebble tray. With the humidifier going, all of the plants, not just that one, but all of the plants get the humidity. So that makes it really nice. You water them only when they're just drying out. They're not quite dry yet, but all very close to it. I think for a first timer, it would be wise to buy your plant small. Brand new baby. The reason for that is it gives you time as it grows to find out what it likes, what it doesn't like. You'll find out how it reacts to certain things. And if they're getting crispy edges or stuff like that, you'll find out before it gets into a bigger plant. Now this one here, I got lucky. It has a whole new branch coming out of here with new leaves. So I got a two for one. Isn't that wonderful? So, lastly, when the problem with prayer plants is they do tend to get spider mites. They're little teeny spiders underneath these leaves. Sometimes you'll get them, sometimes you won't. I've never had a spider mite in my life. I've never had a house plant get any kind of insect. But they say that they will get spider mites, and you just treat it with neem oil several days until it's gone. They say that the way the spider mites get in is on your shoes, in produce, stuff you bring in from outside for some reason, things like that. I've just never had any problem. Now I might be speaking out of turn because I haven't checked them lately. So I guess that's about it with these. I have learned to really be in tune with my plants and pay close attention to them, especially when I water them. I got the hiccups, I'm sorry. These on the table are some of my favorites, but then I've got all my plants are my favorites. But this one here, Sabrina. Zebia will be just as pretty as Sabrina one day, but Sabrina is a delight. She never disappoints you. She She does all kinds of cute things to get your attention. She's been putting out leaves since I got it. I guess I've had about 4 or 5 new leaves. She's a prolific leaf grower. So they give you joy, especially when you see what God did with these dancing or the prayer plant. It makes it fun. So I hope this helped you. I hope that it will take away your fear of prayer plants. If you've seen the videos I've seen, they are wonderful. I love them. I have had no problem. And these prayer plants are about, a month or 2 old?
Yeah.
And if I was going to get a problem, it would start to show up in a couple of weeks. Too longer, but at least a couple of weeks. So this one here, where I have it, it isn't growing very much. But it is living, and it is, it's okay. It doesn't mind where it's at. I need to move it. I've got it in a cube unit that has grow lights on it. And that's why it's still living real well. But I got to work on that one a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed it. I thought y'all would enjoy watching the video clips of them dancing. And next week, I don't know what we're going to do, which plant. I bought myself a plant tonight for my birthday. I'll show you that next week, maybe. And I still haven't found out the name of this mystery plant. Jamie, hand me the mystery plant.
This one?
Yeah. The one I don't know the name of. I don't know the name of that sucker. But you see this is turning yellow? That's one of the beginning leaves. And a lot of times those beginning leaves will turn yellow and die. But I don't know what this is. I have no clue. If any of you out there knows what it is, I would appreciate it if you tell me. It's a thick leaf. And it looks like it might be a member of the philodendron family, but I don't know. I thought maybe as this new leaf right here in the center came up, it might have a split in it like that split leaf next to me. And it didn't, so it's not a split leaf. Maybe it's an elephant ear, some form of an elephant ear, I don't know. So there you have it, guys. Y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you hopefully next Saturday. But I'll always do one just as soon as I can if I miss Saturday, okay? All right, bye-bye, and thank you for joining us.